In 1983, in a spacecraft, there are two Soviet astronauts. While they are on this mission, one of the astronauts says that after the mission ends, he will go home and take a hot bath. The other says he will go to Rostov to take care of some things. As they are leaving the station, the vehicle starts to have problems, but then everything returns to normal. Suddenly, one of the astronauts notices something strange on top of the vehicle. The scene then cuts to Kazakhstan, where a man sees someone falling from a parachute. He goes to check and finds those astronauts, one lifeless and the other with some injuries. In the next scene, the Moscow Academy of Medicine and Brain Research Institute are shown, where a doctor named Tatiana is about to be judged for accidentally injuring a patient and being accused of negligence. A woman tells Tatiana to accept the dismissal or she will take the case to the prosecutor, but Tatiana insists she has committed no crime. After the judgment, Colonel Semiradov invites Tatiana to his neuropsychology center to solve a case, and she accepts. When she arrives, Semiradov tells Tatiana that she is free to walk around 90% of all areas in that place, and that after she receives security clearance, she can go into the restricted area. In the next scene, a scientist is conducting some tests with Veshniakov, the surviving astronaut. Veshniakov begins to recall the moment he saw something big and dark blue and says it was a whale. The scientist then tries another test, but all without success. After the scientist leaves the room, Veshniakov says that if he is guilty, he can be judged, but if not, he asks Semiradov to let him go. Semiradov then asks Tatiana to evaluate Veshniakov. Tatiana then enters the room and introduces herself to Veshniakov. At that moment, she notices a Matryoshka doll on the floor and asks if it is his. He responds that it is and that he plays with it from time to time. Tatiana asks what happened before the accident, but he cannot remember anything, only the moment of departure and when he woke up on Earth. Before she leaves, he asks her to call his mother to let her know he is okay. Tatiana reports to Semiradov that Veshniakov has anxiety and depression and that his entire neural system is damaged. However, Semiradov believes this is all normal, to which Tatiana responds that if it were normal, he would let him go. Minutes later, one of the soldiers takes Tatiana to her room. At nightfall, Tatiana can't sleep and decides to go for a run. She bumps into a soldier who greets her coldly. Upon returning to her room and while bandaging her foot, Semiradov knocks on the door and says he needs her. At that moment, the soldiers close Veshniakov's room door, and Tatiana observes some strange movements from him on the monitor. Suddenly, he is thrown to the ground, and a strange creature emerges from inside him, startling Tatiana. She decides to see it up close as Semiradov suggested. The creature appears and scares her once again. As she approaches the glass, the creature lunges, but fortunately, the glass doesn't break. She then sits on the floor, very distressed, and asks Semiradov what it is. He responds that no one knows and confirms that the creature is not from Earth, stating that it enters and exits the host without causing damage. After revealing some details, Tatiana asks why she was chosen. Semiradov replies that he chose her because he saw that in her career, she takes risks. Before leaving, Tatiana says she wants his statement, the footage of Veshniakov's landing, and all the research results within an hour. The colonel explains that after the landing, Veshniakov went to a hospital, but the strange creature attacked a nurse, which is why he was taken to the research center. He also explains that Veshniakov has a connection with the creature, and that when they try to separate the two, his vital signs start to drop. She is also informed of the exact times the parasite exits and enters his body. While Tatiana studies the case further, the scientist enters the room, and Tatiana asks him where Veshniakov's son lives. He responds coldly, but Tatiana says he doesn't need to hide anything because she isn't going to steal his Nobel Prize. Moments later, she calls the orphanage where Veshniakov's son is, and the scene shifts to his son going to the phone. Then, the woman from the orphanage appears and scolds him. Back at the research center, Tatiana reveals to Veshniakov that everyone thinks he is crazy and that they believe he attacked the other astronaut. She also confronts him, saying he is not a hero because he abandoned his son in an orphanage, which makes him very angry. The scientist then asks why she did that, and she asks them to check his hormone levels immediately, because what she did was part of the plan. Tatiana asks Semiradov to send Veshnyakov to a hospital with civilians to mimic normal life. The next day, he is sent to a hospital room, where he picks up a tape to see what it contains. The footage shows him and the other astronaut returning alive from a space mission. He becomes angry and turns off the TV. At that moment, Tatiana appears and apologizes for what she said, explaining that it was only to measure his hormone levels under stress. He reveals to her that he didn't know about his son because the boy was with his mother, but she passed away, and the boy went to a foster home. Hours later, Tatiana goes to Veshnyakov's room to observe the creature. She makes a movement, and the creature mimics her. Meanwhile, outside, the scientist keeps bothering Tatiana, and she tells him to shut up. She accidentally bumps into the toy, attracting the creature's attention. Tatiana then asks for the glass to be raised. Before entering, she dons a special suit. She places the doll on the floor and steps back. The creature starts to play with the doll, and when Tatiana decides to approach and touch the creature, it turns on her and attacks her legs. The soldiers quickly rush in to help Tatiana. Moments later, Tatiana explains to Semiradov that the creature and Veshnyakov are one, and that both are attached to the doll. She suggests they should take him to Moscow, but Semiradov asks her to just send all the reports to Moscow. Moments after, Tatiana argues with the scientist because he didn't want to provide more data about Veshnyakov. He takes her to a place where criminals are tied up, and the strange creature appears. Tatiana watches the creature attack the man, which makes her vomit. The scientist talks to Tatiana and believes that the creature attacks people who are afraid and feeds on cortisol. Tatiana disapproves of what he and Semiradov are doing and then leaves the car. The next day, Tatiana tells Veshnyakov everything that is happening, and they make plans to meet at night. After spitting out the medication, he crushes the pill and puts it in a mug. He then invites the secretary to watch a movie. Initially, she declines, but then she accepts and ends up falling asleep because she drank the beverage with the medication. He takes a part from the TV and uses it in a security camera, and they start entering some rooms with data about Veshnyakov. Tatiana goes to Semiradov's office and tells him that he is killing people, but he responds that they want to discover how to control the creature to use it as a weapon, which he believes will ensure peace for the country. He also shows her that all the test subjects were criminals. After the conversation, Semiradov takes Tatiana to the same place where they use criminals as test subjects. When she sees the creature about to attack them, she decides to enter and manages to control her fear, and this time she is not attacked. However, suddenly, one of the criminals tries to escape, and the creature attacks him fiercely. Tatiana shows the scientist that the creature chose Veshnyakov because the other astronaut had cancer. At this moment, she tells him that she needs a powerful sedative because they plan to escape that night. He gives her the sedative, and she uses it on the soldier. After an emotional conversation from Tatiana about Veshnyakov's son, they prepare for their escape. They decide to leave, but the scientist chooses to stay. He locks himself in a room to make calls and report what Semiradov is doing. Realizing they are escaping, Semiradov sends a team and says they can eliminate Tatiana. The soldiers find the two and order them to stay still. When Tatiana moves, they start shooting. Meanwhile, after the scientist finishes making the reports, Semiradov enters the room and kills him. As the soldiers advance, Veshnyakov asks Tatiana to give the injection to release the creature. The creature attacks the soldiers, and Tatiana escapes by car with Veshnyakov. Semiradov confronts the creature but is attacked on the arm. Hurting the creature also affects Veshnyakov, who starts feeling unwell in the car. After she gets him out of the car, Semiradov and the soldiers appear. When Semiradov begins to hurt Tatiana, Veshnyakov becomes enraged, causing the creature to attack the soldiers and Semiradov. After the creature returns inside him, Tatiana says they will go to Moscow to try to resolve the situation. However, he decides to end it and kills himself. Tatiana then goes to the foster home, and decides to adopt Veshniakov's son. She introduces herself and hugs him. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to receive upcoming videos. Thank you for watching.